I'm photographer David Bergman, and today I'm trying to do something that's never been done before. I'm here in Times Square in the heart of New York City and want to make a time-lapse video that shows the hustle and bustle in the city that never sleeps. You probably know that time-lapses are made by shooting a series of still images over a period of time and then playing them back in rapid succession. This part of the city has been photographed millions of times from every possible angle, so it's really not going to be easy to find something unique. But I'm going to start simple and work my way up. For my first pass, I'm going to set up the Canon 5D Mark IV camera on a tripod and simply use the built-in intervalometer to shoot a frame every second. I'm using a 1/30th of a second shutter speed so that each image has just a little bit of motion in it, giving me a relatively smooth video. If I were to use a faster shutter speed, the motion would be jumpier, and that's not really the look I want in this case. This time-lapse came out okay, but maybe if I just move the camera a little bit during the time-lapse, it'll add to the frenetic nature of Times Square. The New Zealand-based company Syrp, which is spelled S-Y-R-P, sent me some of their gear to play with, so I'm going to try it out. I'm going to start by putting the Syrp Genie Mini on top of my tripod, and then put my camera on top of that. The Mini is a simple, relatively inexpensive motion control device that allows me to pan the camera left and right. It works for shooting video, but I'm going to use it today to shoot still images for my time-lapse. I don't need to put a ball head on top, but by doing so, I can aim the camera up or down just where I want it. I use the Syrp app on my phone and connect via Bluetooth, and then I program the exact movement I want the camera to make and preview the move before I start shooting. The link cable connects the Mini to my camera and takes all the pictures automatically. So this time-lapse is a little bit better than the first one because it's not as static, but I really think I can take it up yet another notch. Switching to Syrp's full-size Genie, I can now move the camera back and forth on a set of metal rails. The Genie pulls itself along by strings attached at both ends. I'm using Syrp's rail system called the Magic Carpet, but you can use any standard rails from any company that you want. I set all the parameters on the Genie itself and it does the movement automatically. I'm limited only by the length of the rails, and this one's about 3 feet long. This is starting to be a lot of fun, but I'm still only moving the camera on one axis, and that can get a bit boring. So what I'm going to do now is add 2 Genie Minis and Syrp's pan tilt unit so I can move the camera on all 3 axes. I can pan left and right, I can tilt up and down, and also slide back and forth at the same time. This really allows me to program complicated moves on the app, and of course I can preview everything before I start taking pictures to be sure it's exactly how I want it to look. Alright, that one's pretty cool, but I think I can take it up one more level. And when I say up, I really mean up in the air. Times Square has very strict rules about photography, and drones are definitely not allowed. Even if I could get a drone in the air here, you can't shoot a long time-lapse on a drone. Luckily, Syrp makes one more cool thing called the Slingshot. It's a portable system that fits in a backpack and is basically a dolly on a set of ropes that I can tether to 2 stationary objects. Then I put the carriage on the ropes, put the camera on there, and it's pulled across automatically by the Genie. They make Slingshot ropes up to 300 feet long, which would easily stretch across the street from building to building. But I've been given special permission today to run a camera between these 2 flagpoles right here in the middle of Duffy Square. The system comes with safeties for both the dolly and the camera, so everything's really secure as it flies over people's heads. The only downside is that wind can be an issue, but stabilization and post-processing will smooth things out for me a little bit. I programmed the Genie to take a picture every 2 seconds, so it takes 20 minutes to make its way from one end to the other. Most people don't even notice that there's a camera flying slowly over their heads. When it's done, I can change my settings to point the camera the other direction and get a different view on the way back. Look, at the end of the day, the Syrp Genie worked out really well. The Mini is an inexpensive entry to motion-controlled video and time-lapse. The full-size Genie adds the option to slide back and forth, and the Slingshot allows me to fly through the air for the length of a football field. As always, it's up to you to think of unique ways to use any piece of equipment, but remember, if you can imagine it, you can capture it.